In the beginning, most of us know the story. God created the heavens and the earth, the land and the water, the animals, and us. He did all this in 7 days, and Genesis 1 verse 31 says that God looked over all he had made and said that it was very good. But I look around today and my heart breaks because the world that I see is definitely not good. People are killing each other and causing pain with complete disregard for the people they are affecting. Families live in fear that they will lose one another. Children in the U.S. have to check their Halloween candy for drugs or razor blades before they eat so they don't die for taking part in an innocent holiday. Meanwhile, children across the seas have to walk many miles to get water with the risk of being robbed or attacked somewhere along the way. This is normal. We turn off the news because we can't bear to watch as countless lives are destroyed, as our world is destroyed. I think I speak for all of us when I say that we are aching for a change. But when we voice our desperation, the only response to be found is a broken record repeating the words, "We're too far gone, we're too far gone, we're too far gone, we're too far gone." Or are we? I have a dream about a beautiful world. A world where hatred and sorrow and loneliness are extinguished. A world where people stick together, where people support one another through their losses and struggles. A world that loves unconditionally. Some might say I've seen heaven, but I think I've seen our future. Now, I'm not claiming to be a prophet, but I'm convinced that if every Christian made it our mission to show God's love to others, we could achieve this heaven on earth. When God created us, he clearly told us that our purpose is to love him and everything he has created. But soon after this, we find the first example of our struggle to live out this purpose. Time and time again, Satan has led us to believe that we have other purposes, creating the chaotic world we see today. The world that we are just waiting for God to fix. We hear examples of this every day as people say things like, "Why doesn't God do something? Why would he let this happen?" But the world is like a messy room. We walk through it every day wishing someone else would clean it. But the reality is that it is not their job. But how often do you simply walk through the mess? How often do you find yourself tripping on things that just need to be picked up, overlooking people who just need God's love? I'd say for me, it's too often. And yes, maybe there are somewhat reasonable excuses we can use for this. Maybe we're tired, busy, sick. Maybe we feel overwhelmed by the mess that we see. But most of the time, we're simply oblivious to the people God has put around us. John Steinbeck once said, "I wonder how many people I've looked at and never seen." I think that's pretty relatable, don't you? Can you imagine what would happen if we took the time necessary to not only see people, but interact with them as well? Not just our friends and families, but everyone, especially the people the world has deemed hard to love. The loud, the drunk, the different, the dirty, the whiny, the rude, the misunderstood, the arrogant, the hateful, the repeat offender, the opinionated, the robber, the immigrant, the brat. What if we made it our mission to show God's love to them, no matter what? To care for them, to say hello in an elevator, to pay for their meal, to help them achieve goals and attack big obstacles, to ask how their day was, genuinely, to hug them, to listen with open minds, to show up when no one else will, to look them in the eye and let them know they are loved. I believe that we create a beautiful picture of heaven on earth when we do this. I believe that simple acts of kindness can show people who God is. I believe that when we love with all our hearts, even when it's hard, that we shine light into the darkest of places. And when we do that, I believe God says, "This is very good." When my mom asks me to clean my room, sometimes it takes me a few days, even when it's not that messy and should be easy to clean. But even though it's easy, I find myself not knowing where to start. I just sit on my bed overwhelmed, looking for a distraction, and the day goes by and nothing changes. But then the next day, the mess is messier and mom gets upset, so I need to start somewhere. And little by little, with each step, the room is pretty again. I think that's a great parallel for where we are in the world today. The consequence of our inaction is the messiness of the world, the loneliness, the brokenness, the ugliness that doesn't need to exist. We have to take the first step. We have to choose to love others with all we've got, even if it's just for a second, so that maybe one day everyone will know the love of God. But until that day, it is our job to show them, to build heaven on earth, to make the world very good. It seems like a big job to do, but we are not alone. We have a great helper working with us. Before Jesus went up to be in heaven, listen to what he said. Jesus came forth and told his disciples, "I have been given all authority in heaven and on earth. Therefore go and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Teach these new disciples to obey all the commands I have given you, and be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age." See, he is always with us, working with us, guiding us, giving us everything we need to shine our lights, to give everyone around us big and small glimpses of heaven on earth. And as long as we depend on our own willpower to make changes in our lives, we will only become more of who we want to be, and the world will look more like us than God. When we depend on the power of Christ, a power that is completely separate and far greater than our own, we can become more of who God is calling us to be, and the world will be beautiful. It will be very good. Christ's power is available to you. His power within us allows us fellowship with him in the victories, the struggles, and everything in between. So let's rely on the power of Christ to move us. Let's shine our lights in the darkest of places. Let's love with all our hearts. Let's work together to make Christ known to everyone we can. And let's make the world very good again. Thank you.